Donald Trump began his morning the way he often does, by lashing out in a string of all-caps posts on social media. But this time, his latest proclamation was more than bluster. It revealed a deeply flawed and economically dangerous tariff policy with China, one he is now trying to frame as a great victory for America. The truth? Under Trump's so-called deal, American importers will now face a staggering 55% tariff on Chinese goods, while China imposes a mere 10% tariff on American products in return. Trump calls this fair. Economists call it a catastrophe. Trump claimed in an all-caps post that the US has reached a trade agreement with China. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. On its face, that sounds like the US is collecting more revenue, but it's deeply misleading. Let's say a US retailer wants to import $1,000 worth of electronics from China. Under a 55% tariff, that import now costs $1,550 before it even hits shelves. The retailer, facing rising costs, passes that price increase on to consumers. That $1,000 laptop now costs at least $1,550, not including the markup for profit or shipping. Meanwhile, Chinese importers of US goods face only a 10% tariff, giving Chinese consumers and businesses an advantage. In Trump's world, that's winning. Trump also bragged that China will continue supplying rare earth minerals and allow Chinese students to study in the United States, both of which, honestly, were already happening before his trade war. He stated full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied up front by China. This isn't a win. It's, well, just a return to the status quo. The very situation before Trump launched his economically destructive trade war. In other words, Trump is claiming victory for putting out a fire he started, even as the house still smoulders. Before we dive deeper, if you're into this kind of breakdown, give the video a like, subscribe for more, and let me know your opinion in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Now, on with the video. Trump pointed to new inflation data claiming CPI just out. Great numbers. In reality, the Consumer Price Index rose 2.4% in May, which was lower than forecasted, but, still an increase. Economists warn that the full effect of these tariffs hasn't even hit yet. We still think it may be early to see signs of sizable pass-through of tariffs into consumer prices. Translation. The worst inflation from these tariffs might still be ahead. Citigroup announced it's setting aside hundreds of millions of dollars more this quarter to account for potential loan defaults. An early sign that banks anticipate a worsening United States economy due to poor macroeconomic policy and growing credit risk. Trump's messaging also betrays a lack of basic understanding of international trade. We are going to work closely together to open up China to American trade. This would be a great win. But China is already open to American trade. In fact, most major world economies are. Trump's statement sounds more like a throwback to 1980s trade rhetoric than a serious policy statement in 2025. Even his own trade officials, such as Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, have failed to produce the 90 deals in 90 days Trump promised. When asked about progress, Lutnick gave a rambling, vague response about being locked in a room with the Chinese while admitting that other deals have stalled. He claimed, "We're in good shape with lots of countries," but offered no specifics. There have been 0 confirmed new trade deals in the promised 90-day period. Beyond trade, Trump's administration continues to weaponize government institutions. At the same time he's claiming economic wins, he's floating the idea of arresting California Governor Gavin Newsom for not doing a good job. Deploying National Guard troops without basic supplies, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. Using ICE and Customs and Border Protection as stadium security for a soccer match in Florida, raising serious civil liberty concerns. This misuse of federal agencies has led to growing fears of authoritarian overreach. Meanwhile, state-aligned media outlets like Fox News are trying to spin a military parade in Washington, D.C., coinciding with Trump's birthday, as a patriotic celebration. In reality, the parade marks the 250th anniversary of the US Army, and the decision was pushed by generals, not Trump. But the attempt to reframe it as a dictator-style birthday celebration mirrors tactics used by leaders like Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un. While Trump parades himself as a master negotiator and economic genius, the facts tell a different story. A 55% tariff on Chinese goods isn't a victory. It's a tax on American businesses and consumers. The new China deal simply reinstates the pre-trade war status quo. Inflation is still rising, and major US banks are preparing for a downturn. Trump's misuse of federal institutions is escalating both domestically and globally. America isn't winning. It's being gaslit, sold the illusion of success while footing the bill for failure. And while Trump tweets in all caps and touts his hollow victories, working families across the country are feeling the real cost in groceries, electronics, tuition, and basic financial security. This video is grounded in public data and verified reports. It aims to cut through political noise to give readers a clear picture of what's really happening in US trade and governance and why it matters. Thanks for watching. Thanks for